Welcome to Let's Talk About It, a podcast that gives a platform for real talk, real stories, real people, real topics, real conversations. Welcome to the show. Enjoy the journey. Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk About It, a podcast that gives a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. Today, my guest today is this is actually a recap show for my first guest, Tammy Lyn Connors. You know, if you go back on the episodes, episode one was probably one of my favorites. She talked about being a former alcoholic, and she had a great story to go by. You know, I want to bring her back today for a recap after the show. It's been like I think like 6 weeks now. So I want to introduce my diamond, Tammy Lyn Connors. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Lou. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm
How's
great.
everything, how's everything in Ohio right now,
Um,
weather-wise?
the sunshine today. It
Eh,
was almost 50. I feel like the wind has been blowing excessively since the first week in February. Like always windy. It's
Oh,
been bad, but
the same
I
here.
we had sunshine today, so it's good.
Yeah, Charlotte's been like, ugh, it's been up and down 50, 40, then 30, then 60, then down again.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how it is. Tammy, all right, let's get back to episode one. Matter of fact, I want to talk about to everybody. I want you to go on my channel, look at episode one. Great story. Tammy has a great story. She's explained it so many times. I'm so glad she came on to explain it to me. How I met Tammy. I was on TikTok. I was talking about my daughter, her passing. She reached out to me. She asked me to come on her show, Hope, helping other people evolve. You got to check that out. It's a great podcast. She asked me to come on right to tell my story about my daughter. When I went on there, and she made me feel comfortable, and that was like really the first time I really talked about my daughter, since she passed away. Um, and she inspired me to start this podcast. And I've told her this many, many times. She is what she is about her podcast. Hope she really is. She's a diamond. I call her my diamond. She's the best in the world. I know she's probably tired of hearing about it from me like every single time, but she is the best. Tammy, when you came on the podcast for my first episode, which I was honored to have you, to have him
I was
first
honored
episode.
to be
Like,
there.
how was it after you felt like after you did that for someone that who was like honored by you, who followed your footsteps? Like, how did you feel about it after the
Uh,
first when you came on?
Well, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but my smile is just like huge because when you talk about it, it really, that's what my whole mission and vision with Hope is, to help other people to evolve and to share their stories and whatever that story may be. And I love your number three that has started a podcast from being on my podcast. So that makes me feel really good. Just like I know that I help somebody else feel comfortable in sharing and talking to other people.
Oh, see, this is why, yeah, you are the diamond. I'll tell you that now. Um, from your show, I told you about this story before, right? But I'm going to let everybody else know.
Yeah.
A random stranger was just on YouTube. She was scrolling through, and I guess she was bored or something like that. Well, she's like, "Oh, let me check this out." So she actually looked at the episode that Tammy was on, and she got inspired by it for some reason. But I'm sorry, she got really really into it because her story was she had a sister who was an alcoholic, and she just stopped bothering with her. She really stopped bothering with her. She didn't want to be bothered with her, but she was so inspired by how way Tammy came out with her story. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna go by there and check up on her.
Mhm.
Thank goodness she did. When she went by to check up on her that day, it was on a Saturday. That day, she knocked on the door. Nobody answered, so she opened the door. The door was open. Her sister was passed out. She called 911, took her to the hospital, had alcohol poisoning. They told her if she did not come that day, maybe a day or two later, maybe that day, she would not be here anymore. So that's
Mhm.
why, like, people's stories can affect people. I mean, it's very, very important. I know my platform goes all over the place, but it's a story in every story. And people can get something from it. Go to Tammy's. She has one of the best ones out there. She helps out everybody. Trust, she's a diamond like that. I just want to tell that story to everybody. And Tammy, like when I told you that, like how did that make you feel? Because that's something big. Like she was randomly scrolling through. She gave up on her sister. She was like, I'm not gonna be bothered. She heard your story. So she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go check out my sister. Because of that, this woman's alive today. What do you think about that?
Well, I have a big belief in God. So when you say she was randomly scrolling and happened to come across that, I believe that God had her do that,
Yeah.
and to hear my story and to know that when we struggle from addiction and alcoholism, I mean, I get the whole letting go, and you have to detach because you can't enable. I enabled my sister for years too. And but for her to maybe hear my story, to know that, maybe there's hope for her sister, and maybe that's what clicked in her. Like, wait, Tammy talked about how bad she was because weighing 85 pounds, drinking shots of Listerine, puking bile every day, then maybe that gave her that little thought of hope that maybe if she just talks to her sister, or maybe shows her sister the story, that her sister will be able to relate to it. And thank God she went there that day. Thank God she watched it that day,
Yeah.
because we don't know what the outcome would have been then.
I
And
tell
yeah,
you,
it makes me feel fabulous, wonderful. It was so great when you called me and told me that. I was like, oh my goodness, that's so awesome.
yeah, it's
You know,
inspiring because, like, she just randomly went through it, and like you said, like it was maybe it was called to her, and
yeah,
she's alive today. I talked to her like last week. She put her in AA.
good,
She's taking it one step at a time.
good.
But
That's
she's
what you
so
gotta do.
happy she saw the episode, and
Yeah.
like I said, you never know what could happen.
It's true. It's true. You don't know whose life you're going to change doing things that you do just by, you know, just being open and
Oh yeah.
sharing and showing people that you care, you
Oh
know.
goodness gracious. I mean, I tell you right now, because I tell you a story about, like, when somebody saw your episode and saw me on it, about
Yeah.
they never could really embrace losing their child. So they saw
Mhm.
me on your episode and they got inspired to go seek help.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
this is all about.
That's what it's all about. It's
See,
all about.
I love this. Now, since last time we talked, you have celebrated. You came up with a big day. I think it was March 9th. You
Hmm.
celebrated
Big,
20
yeah.
years of sobriety. Like, how would look, take me back to that day? Like when it hit, it was March 9th, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when you woke up March 9th, like what was you feeling? Like it's been 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing, 20 years seems like a long time, but 20 years is a short time. It's just like you and I have been talking about, how is it already the end of March when we were just talking like it was February 2nd? It's just time just goes so quick. So waking up that day, I went out Friday night. I went out dancing. Anybody that knows or watches me knows I love to dance. So I went out with some people. My favorite band happened to be playing. So I went out dancing Friday night. And then I got up Saturday and I just really, took a deep breath in and just was full of gratitude to be able to still be here, to be able to be sober still, to not have let anything get in my way of my sobriety throughout those 20 years. And, using the tools that I've learned, and just gratitude, man, just so grateful. And I knew I was having a dinner that night. So it was just a great day. I worked that day. Yeah. So I told every one of my tables, I'm not a big like, hey, look at me. But when you celebrate 20 years sober, I think that's a, hey, look at me. Give myself a pat on the back. So yeah.
That's a big deal right there. I mean, I know it's probably not a difference like the first year, the fifth year, the 10th year, but it probably is. Every year is a great achievement. But 20
Yeah.
years, I mean, like, is there like a secret to it or something like that you want to share, or like you just going with it?
Well, I mean, a secret to share are the tools that we use, right? And so like I said just a few minutes ago, I'm a big believer. And I completely, when I got sober, turned everything over to God. And I said, I can't do this anymore on my own. I'm going to die. And I can't die because I have a son that's going to be 15 years old and I can't leave him. And so throughout that journey, I've been taken through, I tell people I don't live in a rainbow unicorn, everything's great, roses are pretty in every kind of world, man. There's some thorns and there's some hiccups and there's some down times, there's valleys and there's mountaintops. But at the end of the day, I just have to choose every day to not pick up a drink and drink. And the choice is 100% mine. You know, I heard somebody talking about alcoholism the other day and addiction, and it really hit me hard because I thought about this. Like, we make the choice to pick up that one drink as an alcoholic or addict, or whatever it is, your shot of heroin or whatever it is. But after that, our minds as an addict we're wired different. So after we drink that one drink, it's almost like it's not a choice anymore because we have to have the next one and the next one and the next one. We just don't know when to stop, and that somebody said that the other day, and I thought, man, that is so true. I would go out and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna have one drink. 15 drinks later, because once I had one, I had to have that next and the next and the next. It's just like any addiction. I watched it when I worked at the casino. They just got to play one more hand, just one more hand, just one more hand. I'm going to stop in and play one hand. And it's an addiction. It's sad that it's like that, but every day I wake up with that choice to either drink or not drink, and I choose not to drink.
And you beat it all. Yeah, 20 years is a accomplishment or something like that.
Yeah.
That is just amazing. I tell you right now, you're just amazing. Again, everybody, go back to episode 1. Listen to Tammy's story. It is amazing. What she does, especially on her podcast, Hope. Before I get into this question from somebody who reached out to me for you.
Okay.
Tell everybody again about your podcast. Again, like really deep dive into it. Maybe people can have a better understanding about what you put out there.
Yeah, for sure. So back in I started it in 21 on my sobriety date, and it's called Hope, Helping Other People Evolve. That's what I call my Jeep too, Hope. And so my plan, honestly, Lou, in the beginning, I was going to start it in 2020, but that was a shit show for everybody. So it didn't happen in 2020. I had 3 major losses in my life that year, and it just didn't happen. But I made a promise to myself that I would start it in 21. I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew is I had a laptop and I was going to start this podcast. And originally I really was going to do it more on just addiction, just helping people to get through addiction. And God spoke to me and said, no. There's way more struggles out there than just addiction. And these people need to hear these stories. And I just started like reaching out and talking to people and just being like, I'd hear a story and I'd be like, hey, we share, just like I did with you. And so what I do is I interview people most of the time. Sometimes it's just me, but I interview people that have been through a struggle and are getting to a strength. I don't always say have gotten to a strength because we're all a work in progress every day, right? But if we're still breathing and we're still standing and we're still going, then we are making progress and we are getting to a strength through our struggle. And like you said, somebody heard your story and they were like, oh my gosh, I've never really dealt with my child's death, and started seeking counseling. So that's what I do. I just hope that somebody hears a story. Just one person has to hear it, and they get up out of bed that day and they know that they can get through their day some way or another, and they go find the help that they need, or they reach out to me or they reach out to you, or whoever it is that's sharing. But I've had every kind of story on here, from people that have been in prison for murder, from people that have lost children to overdoses, to people who've lost children in car accidents, to people that are surviving cancer, to people that weight loss. Just all these stories they're incredible. Somebody said to me, what's your favorite story? I'm like, stop. There is not one that's my favorite. They're all my favorite. And it's just a blessing. And I want to add this to it too, because I didn't know this was going to happen. And you're a prime example of it. I didn't know that when somebody shared their story, it was going to help them heal. I didn't know that because they've never shared their story before. So I feel like I've given a platform for people just to come on there and feel comfortable, like we're sitting in a coffee shop, just sharing a story, but being able to help you heal too through that. And I get to hear the best stories.
Oh, yes. And I'll tell you right now, right, since you started me off on this journey, when I piggyback off of you and I'm hearing people's stories, it's just amazing. As you know, I'm doing my own story right now. Like on this podcast, right now, part 3 will be coming out soon. But it's like therapy for me, like to share your story and to come off of that one. It's like so good for me. I've had so many people reach out to me like they have recognized or like been through something I've already told already in the first two parts, and it makes me feel better that
Yeah.
whatever I went through can help them out in any single way. They can recognize it. It actually helped out somebody like recently, which I was so happy about. And again, I thank you so much for like having me on your podcast
Yeah.
and just having me like start my own journey with this.
Well, I appreciate you getting on my podcast and sharing your story because that means a lot to me. You know, like you said, you felt comfortable, and I think that that's a big part of it. And I want to add, you know, the the whole struggling, but just so people know that they're not alone in their struggles.
Yes.
We talk about our problems and our struggles and all those things, which a lot of people don't talk enough about. But they say if you throw all your struggles and problems in a pile with everybody else, you're going to go grab your own back real quick because
Absolutely.
somebody else's story, you're like, whoa, man, I thought mine was something, but, and that's it. That's why I do it, just to let people know that they're not alone in their struggles,
You do a
never
damn
feel
good
alone.
job. Damn good job.
Thank you.
Now, young lady, I have a question from you from somebody who came out of nowhere. I told you about this earlier. It's a guy I know named Ted. He remained his location, he rather not say.
Uh-huh.
He says, Tammy, on hard days at work, I come home to have a couple drinks. But I think about having them while I'm at work. In your opinion, am I becoming an alcoholic?
Mm. This is kind of like the other question that you asked me the last time
Yep.
about the girl. And
Yep.
it's funny that you're asking this question. Not funny, the question's not funny, but funny that you're asking me this because I just had somebody message me the other day and ask me the same thing. She
Wow.
said her mom is an alcoholic and has been in AA for years, and she goes in and out, in and out. And this girl likes to go home she doesn't drink every day, but on the weekends, she likes to have a few drinks and she might smoke a joint. She's like, am I becoming dependent on it? Am I becoming an alcoholic? So my answer to her was, if it's affecting you at work, at home, your family life, your personal, or like I said, your work, if it's affecting your life, then maybe it is something that you need to look at. Or you can do something like this, like he's saying that he comes home every day and has a couple of drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Try it for 30 days, not have a drink. I interviewed Kim on my podcast, remember? And she was the one that used to drink wine every
One
day.
day, yeah.
And then because her son and her made a bet. And she went 30 days without drinking. And then she was like, oh, well, maybe I can go 30 more days. And it's all that mindset. So if you feel like you have a problem and you can't stop for at least 30 days without being like on edge, all those things, then yeah, maybe you should look into it. But to me, if you come home and have a couple of drinks and it's not like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 till I pass out, there's a big difference, but a lot of people, I couldn't do that. Like I could have never came home and had just 2 drinks. There's no way. And I know that, it wasn't like that. So that's what I would say to Ted. Like Ted, just if you're go 30 days and see if you can go 30 days without having one and see how you feel.
Awesome.
And if you start feeling like you have to have it, then you might want to talk to somebody,
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
If you do have it, go definitely talk to somebody, definitely, because like Tim said, it could be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that. Tim, I'm telling you right now, we played in my little game last time. You know what I mean? But it's not like that. It's not 15 questions in like 90 seconds. This is just something new. I call my threes. Okay. I call my threes. Just three little random questions. That's it. It's not. There's no time limit on it. You can answer if you want. You don't have to answer. You ready to go? Come on. This is fun. You gotta have some fun with it.
Wait, let me get a drink of water.
Yeah, you get a drink of water. Get this one in there.
Okay. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right.
If you could tell your younger self any one thing, what would it be?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's hard. For me, don't ever let anyone tell you that you cannot reach your dreams. I feel like that's a big thing for kids. I'm going to go a little bit longer than the question. Is that okay?
All right. All right.
I think about Steve Harvey, and when he was in school and he wanted to be on TV,
Okay.
and his teacher shot him down, and his parents, like I'm pretty sure he had a stutter. And
Yeah.
they said, "What makes you think you could be on TV? Has anybody in your family been on TV?" And they shot him down. And finally, he is on TV, right? He says
Yep.
he used to send that teacher a TV every year so she could watch him on TV. But, I feel like that's what happens when you're young is somebody crushes your dream. They tell you that you can't do that. And so I would tell my younger self, you can do anything that you put your mind to.
I love that.
Yeah, that
I
would be
I
it.
I do that. That's actually a good answer right there. That's a very
Thank
good
you.
answer. Well, two's gonna have you thinking a little bit. You ready for this one?
Okay.
You want to get another sip of water first or no?
All right, I'm all right now. Maybe after this one.
I saw this question. You know what? I'm going to ask you. I think it's pretty cool.
Hey.
Which three people, past or present, would you invite to a dinner party?
Oh my gosh. That I know?
Yeah,
Oh.
anybody.
Well, first I'd invite I can't invite four.
Three. It's three.
That's
Not
not
four.
fair.
Three.
Okay, three to a dinner.
Yeah.
I would invite, well, I would invite my son for sure.
Mhm.
Because he's my son.
Yeah.
Um, I would invite, wow, this is hard for me because there's a lot of people I would invite. It's kind of funny that you say that because my sobriety dinner, I over invited and I had two people had to leave
Oh
because I
boy.
didn't have enough room.
Oh
So
boy.
that's why this is a really hard question for me. I would invite my friend Nancy Rupley. She's the pastor whose house I went to when I got sober. She's a
Awesome.
very special lady in all kinds of ways.
Awesome.
And I would invite, I mean, I'd invite Jesus, but he's passed. There you go. There's my
There you
three
go.
people.
See?
Jesus, Nancy, and Chad.
Hey, you gotta love it.
If
You
you
gotta
given
love
me
it.
four, I'd invited all four of my two kids and my two
No,
bonus.
it's only
I'm
three.
going,
You can't.
I'm
No,
going with
no, no. You can't sneak nobody in there. It's only three. Only three.
So
And
that's why I'd invite Jesus, Nancy, and Chad.
okay,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a nice one.
Okay.
How do you describe yourself in one word? Just one word. Think about it. Should be real simple for you.
Joyful.
And that's the truth. That is the truth. I was thinking about, yeah, somewhere around that realm, I knew you was gonna say something like that.
Yeah.
I knew
Really.
you would. You really are joyful.
I really try to be joyful. Yeah.
Sometimes too serious sometimes, but I'm not gonna, that's another.
Oh my goodness. So serious.
Tammy,
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much coming on. I'm going to say this again, and I probably said this so many times, but this time I'm going to say something different this time. And I thought about this right before you came in. I really did. And I kind of mentioned this before, but I'm really going to get into it now. Like, you mean a lot to me. You really do. And I know I said before, I know you call my diamond and stuff like that, but the journey I'm on right now is the first time ever, right? I said I wasn't gonna get emotional. First time ever, right? I'm ever doing something for me that I love, right? I love this.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this so much. I know I hear from other people saying this and say that. It doesn't matter. It makes me happy, right?
Good.
Besides my gym journey, you are a big part of me being happy now.
Oh.
I just want you to know that. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I swear
Mhm.
on this world, like you're a part of that. You made me
Thank
happy.
you.
This is something I'm putting a lot of passion in, a lot of drive in, a lot of hours in. And
Yeah.
I piggyback off of you with how comfortable you made me feel. Okay. I'm not just telling you this for for everybody to view and all that. I am dead ass
Right.
serious.
Right.
Like you mean a lot to me and what you did for me. Seriously. I mean, it may not, I understand, like, you invite me on, that's great. But because, like, you even said before, like, people gravitate to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's something about you people gravitate to. And that's what I did. And you inspired me to do something I never thought I would ever do, which I love, something that I practically live for. And I want to thank you for that, seriously.
Well, I mean, thank you, Lou. I like you. You don't know you are truly a blessing in my life too. We have conversations outside of here, and
Yeah.
we definitely keep each other like, and we talk, and we have those good conversations, and I
Yeah.
think that means a lot to have those people in our lives. When you said that you're truly happy right now, I just last night did a live video about being happy. That I lost a really good friend of mine last week, and
Yeah.
I've ran into a lot of people that are just miserable in life, and most of them are, it's mostly misery because of a job and where they
Yeah.
work, and they hate it, and it's that paycheck. And we all have to work and we all have to pay our bills, but if your job is making you that miserable, you have to find something that makes you happy. And maybe you have to stay at that job, but outside you have to learn to drop that when you leave that job and do something that makes you happy. We're only go around this earth one time. We don't get, all these chances again. And so to hear you say that you're finally becoming happy and doing things for Lou,
Yep.
and that's some people call it selfish. I don't call it selfish at all. We have to do for us. Nobody else is going to be there to do for us. Our kids are going to grow up, they're going to get married, they're going to move on, things happen, and the same goes for that. My son, all I want for him is to be happy. Whatever it is you do, just be happy. And that's a big priority in my life, because for years I wasn't happy either. I lived for everybody else and never for Tammy. And in the last 4 years, I finally have been living for Tammy and other people. I help people through that, though. You get the same with you.
Yep.
It's great. And
It's-
so thank you, Lou. Thank you for saying yes to being on Hope, and thank you for continuing this. I love your journey. I love watching your shows. Some are a little different than what I'm expecting, but it's good. But that's your platform, and that's the thing, and that's it. Your uniqueness, and it's great, and I love it, and I love that you started doing this. It just fills my heart with complete joy, because that's my, I always say, if you wake up in the morning with a pulse, you have a purpose. So my purpose is this: to help other people evolve, and you're a perfect example of what I've done through that hope. And that's all I want to do, is just help other people get through life and just be happier people. That's all.
See, this is why you're my diamond, and especially about different. You haven't seen different yet. Wait till another 4 episodes. You really gonna say it's different.
I love them. I love them all.
Not all of them. We already know which one you don't.
Well, yeah, I didn't watch one of them. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I did not.
Tammy, I thank you so much for coming on here today. I want to again thank you so much. I appreciate you, seriously. All right, everybody. See you next week. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the show. Please subscribe, click on the bio, support the show. Thank you so much again. We'll see you next week for another amazing episode on Let's Talk About It.